Hi, I'm Ross Jeffries, and welcome to the Power of Setting Frames and Speed Seduction videos. These videos are from the first seminar we've done in 1999 in Los Angeles. Throughout these videos, we'll be discussing the power of frames, how to set frames that serve you and put you in the driver's seat, in the position of power and choice. These are dynamite videos. You're going to see some powerful change work. Plus, we'll be discussing how to structure your own patterns, how to understand themes on a deep level, and lots of other wonderful things. Sitting here beside me is my co-trainer and good friend, Major Mark Cunningham. Major Mark, tell us a little bit about these videos and what you think they're going to be enjoying and learning.
Honestly, I think this is the best work we've ever done. The combination of the overall structure, the themes, the liberating effect of frames on the student's life, coupling that with the dramatic improvement that we have done in our basic technique, weaving even more powerful hypnotic techniques all throughout the entire presentation, all modesty aside, this is the best.
This is far and away the best we've done. And for those of you who have given me the feedback saying, Ross, you need to structure the presentation more, I sat down and with deliberation structured this one. It's still not linear. You will not get connect the dots step by step. This is what you do next. But there is a structure that really helps people get the material, move out into the world with it. So sit back, relax. You'll get more and more out of these tapes with multiple viewings. Thanks for your time and your attention.
Let's do it.
Is interesting, to say the least. I'm here to give you your wake-up call. I'm here to tell you that some of the things that you might experience will be well outside your previous experience, which in part is why you're here, right? You're not entirely satisfied with what's gone on before. You suspect that perhaps there's more that can be done, more within yourself. I can tell you that the process is, as Paul was saying, we're not terribly interested in your intellectual understanding, okay? We're interested in change itself. We're about to go through an experience where I don't want you to try to understand. Once you've entered into our reality, we don't try things, we do things. Because there's a big difference. Trying is a mechanism that we all use when we want to cushion the downside, the frustration of possible failure. Think about it. You say, come on, let's go do something. And you go, oh, okay, what the hell, I'll try it. Okay, now you try it because you think, well, maybe it's going to work, maybe it's not. We use the mechanism because we think that at some level, there's a possibility of success. There's a possibility of failure and frustration. And we don't want to get too emotionally committed to whatever it is we're about to embark upon, because after all, what happens if you set out and it turns out you end up frustrated or you didn't get the outcome you wanted? Well, that's a negative thing, a less than positive thing, as we say in hypnosis. And so you want to just, since you've experienced that before, you want to just go ahead and avoid it. But see, the thing is, a lot of what we're going to be doing this weekend doesn't involve your conscious mind. Okay? You've got various parts to your mental makeup. You've got the conscious mind, which is the part of you that thinks it's in charge. In reality, it's a pimple on the butt of your overall consciousness, but it does in fact think that it's in charge. It's the part of you that's wide awake, looking around, absorbing data. It's basically there to solve problems. It's the part of you that can conceptualize. When you think about how your life is going to be on Monday, it's your conscious mind that's coming up with these scenarios. But see, there's another thing. There's the unconscious mind. Now, the unconscious has roles and responsibilities as well. The unconscious mind is there. It's the permanent repository of your memories. Everything that has ever happened to you, around you, everything you ever thought about, everything you ever felt is all stored away in perfect fidelity and available to you if you know how to open the door. It's the repository of all your emotions, which is why I'm sure you've had the experience before of an emotion welling up from inside. It's like, Jesus, jumping Christ, where did that come from? The emotion just wells up grabs you by the balls, takes you for this wild ride, then all of a sudden just disappears again. It's your unconscious mind providing you this. But it has another function. It's a behavior called the protective mind. And what it is your unconscious mind has the responsibility to watch over you, to protect you, and to help you wherever possible. Now, the catch is your unconscious mind is not logical. It is not linear. It's highly emotional. And so when it makes decisions about how to help you, it may not make a whole hell of a lot of sense. Okay, now Paul was talking earlier about how you all have problems. Now, being a highly skilled hypnotist, I would prefer to reframe that as you've all experienced significant challenges in your life. But I'm here to tell you that you're all okay. There's nothing wrong with you. Throughout your entire life, you've been making the best decisions you could with the information you had at hand. I mean, none of you set out on, say, a Saturday night to get cleaned up, head out to where the women are hanging out, and you say, I'm going to engage in some behavior that's so disgusting, so repulsive, that I'm just going to lose myself in the morning. Okay, now let's go do it, You don't do that. But you do find yourself behaving in certain ways that were not helpful, did not lead you towards your consciously chosen goal. We call these things unconscious habits, because the behavior manifests itself before you're consciously aware of it. It's not under your conscious control. Your helpful, unconscious mind is trying to do things for you that it thinks you want. So, if, for example, just a hypothetical, you've been spending some time in the past saying, why am I such a dildo when it comes to women? Okay? Your unconscious mind says, why? He's asking a why question. He wants a list. I can do that. And starts giving you this long list of reasons why you're fucked up. Okay? And this starts cascading through your mind, and you go, holy shit, I am fucked up. Okay? And then you're off and running in entirely the wrong direction. We're going to be talking to your unconscious mind, because your unconscious, well, it's not terribly energetic. It tends to give you what you've rehearsed instead of what you intend. Okay? That's why you find yourself falling back into old behaviors, objectionable behaviors. If you are not giving it a clear-cut option so that your unconscious mind can say, oh, that's what he wanted. Getting laid. Oh, that's what he wanted. I thought he wanted to screw up. That's what he kept thinking about. Then, see, your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between mental rehearsal and physical rehearsal. It has no fucking clue. It's all real to your unconscious mind. Think about this. Every time you flash back on, wow, I walked up to this hot babe, I finally screwed up my courage, or what, I call courage. Walked up, talked to this hot babe, and she just looked over with a look of utter dismay, and she said, fuck off, freako. Okay, and you, ooh, and it goes inside, and you start to think about that. Well, your unconscious mind says, man, this is what he's practicing. It must be really important. So I'll pay attention and make sure at the earliest opportunity, I'll give it back to him. That'd be pretty helpful, right? We're going to be going through things. You can take your jacket off. It's only winter on the East Coast. We're going to be going through processes that involve your unconscious mind. You are certainly welcome to take all the conscious understanding you might wish. But in particular, when I'm talking, that's really not the part of your mind I'm talking to. We're going to be working with you to help you begin to imagine new ways of thinking, new ways of feeling, possible new behaviors that have a much higher probability of leading directly to moist relief. Okay? So, as part of this process, as I'm saying, we don't try things, we do things. If I were to tell you that as we go through this weekend, we are going to teach you a technology that is so refined, so powerful, so effective, that all you have to do is do what we tell you, and you'll have a 100% chance of success. 100% chance of success. no chance of failure whatsoever. Given that, would you try it or would you do it? The chances are you're going to do it because there's no chance of failure, right? Ooh. So I guess that means if we're trying something, we're unconsciously going chance of failure, chance of success. And your unconscious mind says, hell, failure, I know how to do failure. Okay, and that's what you end up doing. Now, we don't ask for blind faith. Blind faith is the province of religion, and in spite of what some of our critics say, that is not what we're doing here. Okay? Instead, we don't care if you're skeptical. All skepticism means is, all right, Cunningham, I'm going to do what you say. I'm going to see what change manifests in my life, and then, only then, will I make up my mind whether this is a good thing, a bad thing, and whether I want to keep it or throw it away. And that's perfectly okay with us. We don't mind skepticism because we know this shit works. This is not exactly a uncharted path here. We've been doing this for years and we're accustomed to wild success. People ask me all the time. They say, well, geez, you say you're this world-class hypnotist, you charge big bucks for all kinds of things. What's your chance? What's your rate of success? I go, look, that's an intelligent question. And as a trained ethical professional, it's my obligation to be frank with you, okay? My success rate's 100%. My success rate's 100%. I've been doing this for a long time. I know exactly what to say, just the right tempo, just the right tonality, and just the right sequence in order to manifest powerful and permanent change. So my success rate's 100%. The question is what your success rate is going to be, right? And it has to do with the attitude that you bring to this. Now, some things have to be true, we know, in order for you to have wild success within our program. First is a collection of factors about who you are, okay? You have to be human, because every human is capable of accessing trance states. You have to have an IQ over 70, so we know we have an imagination in there to work with, okay? And you can't be psychotic, because psychotics are already in trance, okay? Now, we're not going to call your friends and family and coworkers, but we're going to take your word for it, okay? Now, the second thing that has to be true has to do with the quality of your imagination and how you are accustomed to using it. So, if I were to ask you, if you could imagine now a time when you're relaxed, you're confident, you're successful, you're moving directly towards your goals, which after all is one of the outcomes I would imagine you want from this seminar. Are you capable of imagining such a time? Sure. Yeah? Okay. How about you? You are? Okay, let me ask you something. When you imagine that, are you remembering a time in the past so you remember how it felt? Or are you thinking about how it will feel in the future?
I'm constructing.
Okay, good. That's important because, see, the thing is, a lot of people make the mistake of when they want to get a more permanent state, they first flash back on, ooh, this is where I experienced it, so I know that's when it was possible. And you end up setting your goals as recreating the past. Well, your unconscious mind is not logical, as I say. It's terribly emotional, but it's certainly not stupid. It's just as intelligent as the rest of you, and it knows everything you know. And one of the things it knows is setting your goals in the past just won't work. Okay? It knows you're not serious because you're setting your goals in the past. So it says, fuck that shit, don't have to do that. Here, let's feed him some more failure. That worked pretty well last week. And you're right back in the same loop again. So what we want you to do is throughout the course of the weekend, begin to think about how things will be. Mental rehearsal. We want you to use your imagination to practice only success. Okay? I mean, if you're going to be pounding experience into your brain, you may as well make it good. You may as well make it work. It's your imagination. You can do anything you want. Now, a lot of people think that the process of investigating trance states, and I hope that people understand that we're not doing experiments in mass hypnosis here. We call it trance states just the ability to step out of the normal consensual reality to begin to dream up whole new realities and then find ways of making these new realities real, right? Okay. What we do is not about controlling you. It's not about uncovering past traumas and reliving them in helpful ways. Okay, all we're doing is changing your model of belief. We all have models that we use as a shorthand for reality. Okay? If you tried to go through your day in a raw, receptive state, you would find that it's a challenge. It's fatiguing. Okay? So what we all do is we substitute a shorthand of assumptions that we call reality, and we use it as, we hold it up as like a screen in front of us so that everything has to pass through that filter in order for us to know that it's real, it's true, it's beneficial, desirable, whatever. Now, problems can arise with this kind of strategy, because what happens is if you have a model that is not helpful, or if you have a model that, for example, assumes that women are hostile to you, then your unconscious mind acts as an infallible target finder. And since you have this model of unhelpful, hostile women, it will find hordes of them for you in order to reassure you that your model is correct. Some of you, this may be ringing true with some of you guys, okay? Why are there so many amazingly fucked up women in my life? Well, it's because you set your criteria to go out and find them, okay? Or they could be absolutely wonderful people, but as normal people, they can receive signals that are not necessarily verbal, they're not necessarily written down. They're things that are emanating from you. And so on the unconscious level, they manifest the reality you desire. You can walk up to a perfectly fine woman, and if you are just so cranked up, so tense, so expecting that she's going to do something undesirable, she will instinctively go ahead and do the very thing that you think is the worst outcome. Because after all, you're projecting your reality model so strongly that she just picks up on it and she manifests it for you. The universe says, God damn it, today is your day. We're going to grant your wish. And the first thing that comes to your mind is, I fail with women. Done! We're here to teach you ways to not only change those unhelpful models, but to actually get control. Now, I don't mean control in the sense of hands rigidly on the control, I am now in control. Okay? Because you can't possibly be in control. You can never know for a fact that you're in control unless you have the ability to let go and then pick it up once again. Make sense? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay. That's another thing we're going to be doing. We're real big on affirmations and understanding. If, for example, one of us goes to say yes, we expect you to say yes. Because what happens is the unconscious mind is listening. It's your own little, not terribly logical, highly emotional personal assistant. It's like a real dim bulb personal assistant, who means very well, but is not going to be reasoning very strongly about the outcome. So we need you to just go ahead, give it clear instructions. As Paul says, relax. Just relax. I mean, look at it this way. You're stuck, okay? Your check or credit card is already cleared. You're already in the Wyndham Gardens. You may as well just have the experience, right? And that's all we ask. We're going to take you on a ride. As part of the process, we're going to do something now that sounds so uncommonly like hypnosis that it may as well be so. Okay? And it's not something you can take notes on. It's not something that, we're going to challenge you to do, but you do have responsibilities. Okay? In the experience you're about to undergo, your responsibility is to sit quietly, allow your body to relax, let your mind drift off into a dreamy, drowsy state. And you'll be aware of the sound of my voice. I'm not talking to the part of your mind that requires conscious attention. So just be aware of the sound of my voice in the same way that you're aware of the weight of your body against the chair. And I want you to close your eyes. I want you to sit with arms and legs uncrossed. That's right. And I want you to take a deep breath, hold it for a moment, and let it out with a sigh. Just let go. Let go of all thoughts, all feelings, that there was something in the past that could control you. Because the past is over. The best thing about the past is it's over. It's gone. There are no negative emotions, no negative experiences that can exert any control over you at this or any other level of consciousness. So as you begin a program of deep, regular breathing, I want you to allow the body to relax. Every muscle, every fiber all throughout your body going loose, limp, and relaxed. Beginning the process where with deep, regular breathing, your body relaxes. Your mind goes off into a dreamy, drowsy, comfortable state. And your unconscious mind opens up for new thoughts, new feelings, new understanding. As you begin to learn in new ways. Now, in the past, you've had patterns of behavior, patterns of feelings that came to you unawares, even to the point where your conscious mind could become aware, but only after the fact, only after those thoughts and those feelings begin to come out. And in the past, they may have done so in unhelpful ways. But the thing is, you're okay. And everyone around you is doing the very best they can with the information they have at hand. So as you allow the muscles and tendons of the head and the neck to go loose, limp, and relaxed, each and every deep breath can allow you to breathe in oxygen, to breathe out stress, and to continue the progress of becoming more and more relaxed. There's a way of thinking that we call trance. Hypnotic trance is a way of communicating with your unconscious. Now, as you continue the process, and you feel the relaxation flowing through your shoulders, all the way down your arms to the fingertips, going loose, totally, and then completely relaxed. Your unconscious can begin to learn that the universe will manifest itself in a different way. A way that begins to bring new thoughts, new feelings, new attitudes, playful behaviors, interesting insights, lessons that need to be learned, learning to learn in new ways. Because in the past, you had a model. It was a way of thinking about the world. And you held this model in front of you, and you may have really enjoyed the model, or perhaps the model allowed you to feel things, to obtain things that you hadn't been able to get before. Now, there are new ways of building models of belief, beliefs about yourself, belief that you have the power to choose to relax, feel comfortable, to enjoy your life far more, and to begin now to get the things that you really want. Ways to get your unconscious and your conscious mind to relax, agree, and work together, working together in order to obtain the goals that you have chosen for yourself. Goals that will allow you to feel better, better, and better. Now, some of you may feel it as a lightness as you let the weight of the past go. Just let the weight of the past go and feel increased energy, increased optimism. Because after all, this is your life. This is your world. This is your opportunity to begin change. Change in your thoughts, change in your attitudes, your beliefs, and your behaviors. As we go from this to the next lower level, where you can become even more relaxed. Each and every time you feel the beginning of the relaxation, where your body relaxes, and your chest, your back, and your abdomen can go loose and totally relaxed. You can begin to feel excitement, to anticipate adventure. How good can this possibly be? Even now, as you listen to the sound of my voice, your unconscious mind is beginning to wonder just how good it will feel when you learn to learn in new ways. All you have to do is continue deep regular breathing. Relax. Learn to enjoy your life far more as the hips, the thighs, and the knees go loose. The hips, thighs, and knees go limp, loose, totally, and then completely relaxed. Your unconscious mind can begin to wonder, how good can I possibly feel? Just how much pleasure can I stand? Learn in all the ways. That's right. Learn in all the ways that change can begin. Even now. Change that allows you to know that you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right things in the right sequence as you feel the change begin to move from the right to the left side of your brain, connecting your creativity and your logic, new communication, new thoughts, new images, new sensations, moving back and forth as the knees, the shins, and the feet go completely loose, limp, totally, and then completely relaxed. Each and every time you just take a deep breath. Allow the body to relax. Remain aware of the voice talking to your unconscious. Now, deep inside, change begins. You may not understand how change will manifest in its life. It's not important that you understand. It's important that you feel the change occurring, because soon, very soon, you'll notice changes happening in your life. Some of your changes will happen as you listen to the sound of my voice. Change begins to circulate as though with every beat of your heart. Your heart beats over 50,000 times each and every day, circulating blood from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, all the way out to your fingertips. Each beat circulating new thoughts, new ideas, new possibilities. Possibilities that will allow you to look at your life, to relax, to enjoy your life far more, and begin the process of allowing yourself the new reality. The reality that change is the constant in the universe. Change is the most powerful force in all the universe, because everything is subject to change. And what you're learning now is the idea, the concept, the way to allow your unconscious mind to pay attention to the words, the thoughts, the physical sensations that will allow you, lead you, and take you right to the point where you can say, yes, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to get. As you move deeper, deeper, and deeper into the possibility that for you, there are even greater possibilities than you ever imagined. So what I want you to do now is to allow your body to absorb the relaxation as your unconscious mind absorbs the thoughts, absorbs the words, and begins to wonder, begins to anticipate just how good can this be. And deep inside, there's a process beginning, a process that is unconscious and automatic, a process where your unconscious can begin to look for ways to allow change to occur. After all, that's what we do. We learn new things. When you were very small, there were rules that were given to you in order to help you and protect you, to guide you in the right way. But just as you would not allow that very young version of you to make your decisions, to drive your car, or to choose what you're allowed in your life, you can easily understand now that it's time for you to make adult choices for adult reasons in ways that will lead directly to your goal. And as your unconscious learns new instructions, new ideas, things it needs to do now in order for you to achieve your goal, that you can begin to enjoy the success as you imagine a time, a few weeks, a few months, very soon, where change manifests itself in your life in ways that allow you to relax, feel comfortable, enjoy your life far more in each and every way that you truly desire. Now, in a moment, my voice will pause. And as it does so, I want you to take all the time you need over the next few moments to begin the change that your unconscious needs to begin to allow the process to happen. And when my voice returns, it will not startle or distract you in any way, but will only increase and intensify the suggestions of learning to learn in new ways. And this is so. Deeper and out, more relaxed than ever before, more comfortable with the process. Each and every time you feel this helpful trance state coming over you this weekend, you can smile the inward smile of recognition and know you're on your way. You're on the right path. Change is happening for you. And as my voice comes to a halt, you can return back to the room, taking a deep breath only as slowly as you acknowledge that there's a process, unconscious and yet automatic, one that will allow you to begin to relax more deeply, feel far more comfortable, and begin to enjoy your life, learning the things that it's time for you to learn, the things that it's time for you to change, and understanding that it's time now to begin the process of accepting new thoughts, new behaviors, new attitudes that you're here to enjoy today. All right, now, I want you to open your eyes, take a deep breath, and we're going to do a strange and esoteric Hindu ritual. I want you to stand up, return all the way back to the room, and we're going to perform the ritual. It goes like this. Now, chances are you are now wide awake. Okay, I want you to sit down, and at this opportunity, I want to introduce my good friend, constant companion, the left lobe to my right lobe, Mr. Ross Jeffries. Good morning, class. Good morning. Let's have a hand for Major Mark. I keep trying to promote him to general, but he won't accept it. Just take a minute to get out a couple of things here. Anyone here from out of town? Say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Who came the furthest? How do you answer that question? We have any Canadians here? Oh yeah, I remember you. You were in where? Cancun, Spancoon. You had a good time. I've revived the Pop-Tart tradition. So if you ask a good question, you get a Pop-Tart. If you ask a bad question, I've got some of Tabby's dried cat litter. There are no bad questions except the ones that you keep to yourself. So ask them. Seth, how are you? You stud boy. We're going to have you come up and tell your story. Okay? I'm getting ready here. They're double bagged. Well, I had a student come to me. Actually, he called me on the phone. And by the way, we are going to be inviting you to participate in some very interesting and different states of consciousness throughout the weekend. So for those of you who learn in a linear fashion, who need to be told this is what you're about to learn, now you're learning it, and congratulations, you've just learned it. You may view this space as the palace of puzzlement, the concordance of confusion, the oracle of overwhelm. And that's all fine. And since we are dealing this weekend with both illusion and genuine magic, I thought I'd take a minute to shatter a big illusion. And the first illusion I want to shatter is that this is a traditional classroom. First of all, I'm not a traditional teacher, but I know this looks like a traditional classroom. After all, you have the authority figure here in the front of the room. You're sitting here at desks, just like in school. You have your... Stop taking notes, right? You have your notepads, you have your pens, and your various writing instruments of various kinds. So it looks like a traditional classroom. We need to destroy that illusion. This is not a traditional classroom. If we think about traditional learning for a second and traditional classrooms, let's just draw that frame here. Okay? Traditional learning. Let's call it Trad L. Okay? Traditional learning is what I call educational bulimia. How many people here have ever been past high school, been to college? Okay? How many people studied really hard and did fairly well on their tests? How many people actually remember any of what they learned on those tests? Okay, very little. Traditional education is what I call educational bulimia. Okay, does everyone know what bulimia is? I was joking around with my friend Joe Polish. I said, I have ass bulimia. I eat tons of food, then I stick my finger up my ass, and out it all comes. Bulimia, a nice metaphor. Bulimia is an eating disorder where you eat tons and tons of food, and then you run into the bathroom, stick your fingers down your throat, and you throw it all back up. Okay? It's a common eating disorder. You may be dating someone who has it. Well, educational bulimia is just like that. You study, you memorize. Educational bulimia is foundationally based on memorizing. It's not based on comprehension. It's based on memorizing. Memorization is the least important thing in mastering the skills we're going to teach you. I've had people who have what they would call poor memories, although memory is, of course, a nominalization. For those of you who are NLPers, anyone here who's trained in NLP? One person? We'll work extra with you, sir. We'll get you past it. Okay? So, Traditional educational frame has to do with memorizing. It has to do with obeying authority, with viewing the teacher as being unquestionable, with demonstrating that you can kiss the teacher's ass by agreeing with the teacher and all that other bullshit. Those things are not useful for real learning. Let me talk to you about real learning. How many people here can walk? How many people here can ride a bicycle? How many people here can jack off? Okay, you didn't when you learned to touch yourself, you didn't do a one-year thesis on the history of self-exploration. You didn't memorize facts about the hydrostatic structure of the penis, although that's very interesting stuff. Now, I read an article in Discovery magazine. I really did. This is not a pattern. I swear to you. Pick up this month's Discovery magazine. They had an article about a female scientist who does nothing but investigate penises. I swear to you, she dissects animal penises and she subjects them to torsion and stress tests. And they had a male reporter writing the story, and he was going, oh my God, at this point I really wanted to leave the room. She had a freshly amputated rat penis. She put wires on one end, tied it into some kind of torsion bar, and was testing it. Now, she's an expert on the structure of the mammalian penis. And what she discovered is the penis is not a helical structure. It's actually orthogonal, which means it has longitudinal and latitudinal fibers. That allows it to inflate without bending or breaking. Very interesting. But the bottom line is this. Well, the bottom line is this. She is not a traditional learner. She's in there with her hands on the subject, okay, stretching our ideas of what is possible. So, real learning has to do, not with memorizing facts, with all that other bullshit. Real learning has to do with wonderful things like absorption, immersion, comprehension. Okay, with real learning, you want to put yourself into the subject. You cannot really learn to dance by studying dance books. You have to get out there and do the steps. And when you first do the steps, you're going to be a little clunky. We have people here in this room who have various levels of skills in some special disciplines. And I'm willing to bet that when you learned those skills, you weren't that good at them at first. Now, maybe some of you had some natural propensity, some natural talent. But still, and all, to really master it, you had to get out there and do it. So real learning is about absorption, immersion, and it's about comprehension. It's about understanding what you're doing. And one of the keys to getting what I'm going to be teaching, what Mark's going to be teaching, and the other members of the training team are going to be teaching, is understanding. Asking yourself, what is this tool or set of tools designed to do? What is its purpose? If you understand the purpose of the tools you're learning, then you can apply them in all sorts of situations. Let's say you're an alien from planet Remulac. You land on Earth and I give you a hammer. I tell you, use this tool. Now, if you don't know what it's designed to do, you're going to be puzzled. But if I tell you it's designed to drive little pointed things into a wall, then you have a good idea how to use it and which end to use, how to hold it and where to point it. You're not going to hold it by the metal end and try and pound by the wood. Okay? Even though you've never seen the tool before, if I tell you the purpose, you'll have a better idea of how to use it. We could reverse it. Let's say I'm the alien from Remulac. I hand you a tool. I don't tell you what it is, but I tell you it's designed to levitate objects. At least you'd get a better idea of what direction to point it. Okay? You may not know exactly which buttons to push. So I want you to totally discard the notion of traditional learning. This is not about traditional learning. Okay? This is about immersion, absorption, drill. We're going to be doing drills and exercises. And above all, it's about your willingness to take responsibility for drilling with the tools. I am not going to dump information into your head. I don't believe in that model of teaching. I don't believe you can install skill. Yes, you can install beliefs, you can install attitude. But I'm going to be giving you tools that you must drill with and you must work with. That means the person responsible for your results is whom? You, not me. Now, I love to hear these stories, Ross. You and Yates and Mark and everyone are gods. You know, look what I did and what you showed me. And I always turn around and say, we may have designed the tools, but you picked them up and made them part of who you are, and you took responsibility for learning the tools. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So your agreement with me is that you're going to understand what I teach. If you don't understand or would like a better understanding, you will ask questions. Okay? There may be some times throughout the presentation when we're doing trance induction and that sort of thing overtly, where it's not appropriate to ask questions. But generally speaking, if we're up here during the lecture or the drill part, it's fine to ask questions. I encourage it. Good questioners get Pop-Tarts, maybe condoms, you know. Okay? Very important. Because people come to me and they go, Ross, you know, I tried this pattern exactly the way you wrote it, and it didn't work. What happened? Well, the patterns are not scripts that you throw up like information on a test. They're examples of the kinds of communication excuse me, that will get you the kind of results you want. So anyway, the student says to me, whenever I see a beautiful woman, I still feel like I'm going to get shot down. So I said to him, oh, by the way, let me take a minute to introduce the training team. Of course, already this morning you met the amazing Major Mark Cunningham. Stand up, Major Mark. Now, do we need room mics to pick up other people? Major Mark, I'm sure that you were an instant success at speed seduction. The minute you got your home study course, you went out there, applied it, and were seducing women left and right. Is that not true?
When I first ran across Ross's stuff, then I set out, like so many successful students in the past, to prove that he was just this screaming egomaniac asshole and his stuff wouldn't work. And the way you do that is you test, of course, okay? And I went out and I took some of his stuff. Actually, we had this bizarre correspondence going on for a while, but then I started running the patterns. And what I would do would be I would memorize the patterns, and then I would go out and actually, initially, my success rate went down, because what happened was, instead of relying on my natural skills and abilities that had carried me to the point where I was, I shifted over to attempting to deliver the patterns. It was a new behavior, and so I went out and I tripped over my dick a lot, okay? Had some outstanding successes, and the successes initially came about because sometimes you run across women who are just ready. I mean, you could walk up and start talking about how, you know, I just took the top of the block off of my Camaro, and it doesn't matter. They're ready to go, you know. But what I found was that I got increasing levels of success. My percentage rate went up just from delivering the patterns. Well, I started thinking that this is not 100% success, and I'm oriented towards 100% success. I don't like failure. Failure is so astonishingly easy. You can hire a bunch of winos off the street and have failure, you know. I mean, so that's the lowest common denominator. What leads to success? And I started thinking about, well, how does this stuff work? Why does this stuff work? And I realized that the attitude I was bringing to the work was, in fact, the attitude that was holding me back. It was the very thing that was fucking me up. I realized I was bringing too much of the old Mark to the new behavior. So I was getting in my own way. And I decided, well, for example, I've gone lots of different places. I've done lots of different things. I mean, if you've been following the recorded coursework, you've heard some of the stories. But I still had this bizarre thing about beautiful women. I say bizarre because, I mean, I'd come from a scenario where, you know, you jump out of a helicopter and kill everything that moved before they got you, and I could handle that. But walking up to a beautiful girl in the bar, I mean, it's like, you know, I break out in the cold sweats. I start rehearsing all the different ways I can fail to make sure that I've got it firmly in my head, so by the time I'm up in front of her, I'm ready to really fuck it up, you know? And so I thought, well, maybe what I need to do is talk to more women. And so I set off with the assumption that every day is Disneyland. I'm going to go up and I'm going to talk to every single woman that comes within the range of my voice. And I did this for 3-4 weeks. I mean, standing in a line at Kroger's buying groceries. I talked to the woman in front of me, talked to the one behind me, okay? Drive-in line at the bank. I'd be chatting up the woman through the speaker box. I mean, you know, any place I would run across any woman, any age, any description, I'd just start chatting her up until I decided, okay, I can handle women in general. Now, I'm ready to go take a shot at all these beautiful women. So I started selecting. Every time I saw a beautiful woman, I would just immediately come up and I would say something that was true, something that she could easily notice in the environment around her to start the conversation, and I would force myself to go up and do this horrible, objectionable behavior of talking to beautiful women until I got to the point where I had done this so often, to such degree of detail, that I'd be sitting at the food court at the mall, okay, and here comes this hot babe. I'd go, oh, shit, another beautiful woman, time to go to work, okay, and get up, oh, hi, honey, how you doing, you know, until I completely lost that block. Okay, talking to beautiful women was no longer a bizarre thing. And the interesting thing is, I knew in the back of my head, I had a construct that I could use. I knew, for example, the average person when they graduate out of high school has a working vocabulary of 1,500 words. That's it. I mean, there are hundreds of thousands of English words. We normally use about 1,500. Now, if you've gone to school, it could be like go to college. The average college graduate has an extra 1,000 words, up to 2,500. If you go to grad school, I mean, like you're really into punishment, you go to grad school and you end up with about 3,500 words. And so I thought, well, geez, what would happen if instead of taking these patterns and delivering them in such a way that it only increased my hit rate, what if all the components of the patterns were in fact my natural working vocabulary? Well, then I wouldn't have to remember a single fucking thing. Okay, all I'd have to do would be go up and talk to women. And I'd already fixed that part. Okay, and that's where I started getting tremendous power, tremendous growth from the work.
You manipulative bastards. and by the way, people often ask, is this manipulative? I go, you better fucking believe it. We worked very hard to make it extremely effectively manipulative. We'll talk about manipulation in short order. By the way, Yates, oh, we don't have a VCR? They're not going to give us one? Oh, well, can we get one? Or yeah, let's get one so we can show that crackerjack video of me. All right. And since we're speaking to Yates, let's introduce my business partner and surrogate dad and a brilliant guy in his own right, Dr. Yates. Can I? Now, many of you have had the experience of calling up Yates and asking questions, and he's always happy to help, unless you're a fucking rude asshole. Then he tells you to go fuck yourself, and we cut you off our list. That's the way we like it. Tell a little bit about your story, how you came to this technology and how you've seen it grow. What do you think about it all?
You're on, right? I used to use this technology in fixing broken companies. I took over bankrupt companies as the chief executive officer and turned them around in very short order and never fired anybody. Now, that's not to say people didn't leave, and the appropriate people left to make the company productive again, but I didn't have to fire them. I just had to talk to them in a certain way. And I decided I didn't want to do that anymore because I was spending 17 hours a day, 7 days a week, doing this. And I said, I can use this and be a lot more fun. So I started doing the experimental things of, teaching this, teaching that, seeing what else I wanted to do in life. And that's where I met Ross. And
we met through a very brainless court reporter.
Yeah, a mutual female friend.
Beautiful but dumb as opposed.
Yes. Well, actually, she was a good court reporter.
Yes, very good court reporter.
So I asked him, I says, what did you, what do you do? And he told me. He says, I wrote this book. I said, yeah? He says, yeah, How to Get the Women You Desire in a Bed. So I like the title. And so I got the book and read it, and I called Ross up and I says, he never says, if you read the book, all of you have, he never says NLP in it or never says what he's doing. He simply starts doing stuff. And I recognized what he was doing. I called him up and I says, this is brilliant. I says, your sense of humor and your style of writing and your knowledge of the technology is tremendous. I said, we can build a business out of this. And Ross says, I like the sound of that. Let's sit down and talk. So I went over to his place and we sat down and talked. And I says, what have you done with this? And he says, well, I put an ad in Gallery magazine for this book. And at that time, for you old guys, in fact, Clifford, where is Clifford? Clifford still got an original copy. It was printed at Kinko's with red glue down the edge with a blue cover on it.
No, right? That was the advancement. The original edition, my mom would staple the covers on. We sat there at the fucking kitchen table at my mom's house. She would staple on the covers. We'd go through the orders. She'd keep the cash. I'd take the checks.
Yeah, it was. So I said, what have you done with this? He said, put an ad in Gallery magazine. And I said, and? He said, I sold, thousands of copies. And I said, and? He said, I spent the money. He put one ad, took all the earnings and spent it. And I said, well, that's not good business strategy. I said, what else have you done? He said, well, I kept all the names and addresses. I says, that's smart. So where are they? He says, in my bedroom. I says, can you show me? He says, sure. So we walk into his bedroom, and literally there's boxes all the way to the damn ceiling. There must have been 40 boxes with envelopes and pieces of paper and torn off
The concept of
Parts of
computers and databases had not occurred to me.
And I said, okay, the first thing we got to do is we got to take care of all this stuff. So we consolidated the boxes and pushed all the stuff into a number of boxes that would fit into my car. That was a criteria. And I took them down to my office and had my girls enter all that stuff in the database, and we've been doing it ever since. You know.
Yeah.
And that was almost 9 years ago.
Yeah.
Because Marquita just turned 9.
Yeah. That's when you just got your kid.
And,
Thank you, Yates.
and that's basically the beginning.
Give Yates a big hand. And I also want to introduce, I got to take a minute to introduce someone who's made absolutely remarkable changes. He'll talk about it later. This is Paul, our sound engineer. Say hi to Paul. Paul is a very special person who's undergone some very special changes working with what he's learned from us and some of our trainers in Cancun. And I'm immensely proud of him. He's just made leaps and bounds, and if you take a good look in his eye, you'll know he's a person who doesn't fuck around, and when he stands behind something, he only does it if he believes in it. True? Absolutely. So Paul will tell his story. So, and of course, we have some other returning students here who are available to help you new students. So anyway, the student says to me, you know, whenever I meet a beautiful woman, I still get this fear that I'm going to get shot down. And I said to him, rather than viewing yourself as an aircraft that can get shot down and go crashing and burning and explode in a fireball and be absolutely vaporized, or get permission to fly freely and come in for a nice landing, what if you just viewed it as an opportunity for her to show you what kind of woman she is? And there was a moment of dead silence on the phone, and I could hear all his internal representations, all his negative pictures. I could hear them like glass tinkling, falling to the ground, like as if you had dropped a chandelier and it went. Now, he had organized his entire consciousness. Sir, you with your hand on your mouth writing notes. Yes, this is not the way for you to learn. Put your notes away. Okay? Listen and pay attention and understand. Okay? Now, he had organized his entire consciousness around the subject of meeting women. He had put a frame around it. His frame was the crash and burn frame. Now let's listen to the language he used. He said, I'm afraid I'll be shot down. Okay? He's using fighter pilot metaphors, dog fighting. Now, this metaphor controlled all his visual imagery. He probably literally made images of himself crashing and burning. It controlled how he felt inside, the voices he heard in his head. And the minute I shifted him off the crash and burn frame, which is really a frame about his having to do a performance, into a frame about it being an opportunity for her, what happened? What happened to all those representations and the way he felt in his body? That's right. He shifted the frame, or I shifted the frame for him. When you shift frames, everything contained within the frame shifts right along with it. Think about this. When I said to him, what if you viewed it as an opportunity for her to show you what kind of woman she is? What if you guys took that viewpoint? What if that really was the canopy of consciousness you spread over all your interactions with women? That you were only creating an opportunity for her to show you what kind of woman she is. How would that shift everything inside of you? How would it shift the way you speak to yourself, the way the voices in your head sound, the way you feel in your body, the way you carry yourself, the way you move? And now, let me ask you guys a question. Do you think he consciously sat down and thought, okay, I'm going to pick the frame I'm going to put around meeting women. I'm going to choose this frame. Do you think he did that? Yes or no? Okay. No. So the thing about frames, they control our consciousness and what we do, and yet they're usually not selected with deliberateness. Now, we can certainly design little pieces within the frame. I could have had him redesign the voice in his head. I could have said to him, well, when you listen to that voice in your head talking to you, how do you hear it? And we'll work with those things too in here. So I could have attacked the problem from the smaller pieces inside the frame. I chose to break his frame and put another one in. Does this make sense? Yes. So we've already talked about traditional learning frames versus real learning frames. We've now talked about the example of frames with this fellow. So let me talk about a frame I absolutely loathe, hate, and abhor. Haha, a whore, I said whore. a frame which kept me trapped, frustrated for many years. In fact, they named a company after my sex life, Microsoft. And of course, I'm talking about the dating frame. You've heard of the dating game. Let's talk about the dating frame. Now, when you guys think about dating, let's have some participation here. What kind of terms, concepts, ideas, and imagery come to your mind? Spending money, okay? Boy, is that true. Spending money.
You'll notice he didn't say investing money.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
Who said that? Major? Okay. Spending money, what else? Come on, chime in here. There's intellectual conversation. Hang on. Intellectual conversation. What did you say, Lunsman? What? Detail your car. That's true.
Of course, you would think about sprucing.
Hang on. Detail your car. Right? Spruce up. Impress her.
Hoping, begging.
Hoping. No, this is all great. Begging. Hold on. This is all great. I can't get enough Pop-Tarts in. Getting lucky. Now, I don't know if you need to see this with the camera or not, but I'll repeat it for those of you at home who are lucky enough to buy these videos. Spending money, intellectual conversation, detailing your car, sprucing up, impress her, hoping, begging, getting lucky. No one said cleaning up your place, and even as desperate as I was, I never did that, because it's impossible. You know the phrase, cleanliness is next to godliness? Cleanliness is next to impossible. I'm teasing. It's not that I'm sloppy, I'm just relaxed. So, I can reframe anything, my chronic reframer. Okay, what else? Getting lucky? Oh, man, commitment.
No sex till the third date.
No, rules. No, wait a minute, that's great. Rules on sex. Rules on sex set by whom?
Her. And the media. How about the talk?
The talk. What does that mean? I think I know what you mean, but what's the talk?
Oh, either
Can we hear him?
Like, let's be friends.
Let's be friends.
Or this is what I want. Or
She has power. She has power.
I don't do that on the first day.
Bullshitting. What she's really saying is, I don't do that with you ever. Now let's go to a really expensive restaurant. Am I lying, man? And by the way, let me make something very clear. I love women. Honest to God, I really, truly, absolutely adore women. I think I can share and exchange, and not just sexually, but emotionally and at other levels, I can share and exchange things with women that I just can't do with men. So I really, truly, absolutely love women. I think by breaking this frame, we help them. I don't think it serves them to be trapped in that frame. I don't think it serves them at all. They're just stuck with what they're used to. Okay? There's a sense in which speed seduction is about asking a question. It's about asking the question, what is the process that a woman can undergo that allows her to realize that she wants to be with a man, not because he's someone her friends would approve of, or because he's what her parents would like, or it's because he's her type, or because he's who happened to come along in the moment, or because he's who she happened to be stuck with, but because somehow, in some mysterious way that maybe she can't even put her finger on, he touches her in all those special places and all those special ways she longs to be touched. Maybe since she's been a little girl. Maybe he touches her in ways she didn't even know were possible. Okay? And that's not possible within this frame. Okay? This frame just triggers bullshit. It triggers hesitation. She begins to wonder, well, what do I really think of her? How many people here have ever had a really great first date, or so it seemed? Everything was clicking, it seemed great, and then you could not get her on the phone. Every excuse was thrown your way. Oh, my parakeet's having an existential crisis, and my mom has psittacosis, or whatever. Non-existent relatives suddenly come into town, you know. Companies that have been bankrupt and out of business 10 years want her to work overtime. It's amazing what happens. The planet's reeling. Well, what happens when you put her through this traditional framework? There's a lot of pressure on her. Yeah, she has a lot of control, a lot of power, but there's also a lot of pressure on her. Oh, I've got to find Mr. Right. I hope the date goes well. All this other bullshit. This frame does not work for anyone, really. It works for women to get free dinners, free entertainment, all that other cool stuff. And it works for the restaurant, movie, and entertainment industries. Okay? So wait a minute, hang on a minute. So if you think this is a class on using techniques to do traditional dating, you're dead wrong. My mother used to say to me, you're going to grow up to be an iconoclast. I said, ooh, sounds like a cool world. What does that mean, Mom? And you go around kicking over idols. I went, cool. Buy some idols so I can kick them over. I don't see any, you know. What's an idol, Mom? Well, an idol is, oh, go fucking look it up. Yes, your question.
How is the frame different for women?
Well, first of all, women have the control and the power because they're sitting on 100% of the world's supply of puntangas. So
They have half the money and all the...
and they get to say yes or no because we're the pursuers. Okay? So they get to have the choice. They get to have the selectivity. They get to control when you're going to get access to the bootay. Now, it's still uncomfortable for them on some levels. There's a lot of pressure on them. Oh, do I look good enough and all this other shit. This frame just doesn't work too well for anyone. And most of all, what I don't like about it is it's a frame that's highly reliant on luck. Begging, yes, but it's also reliant on luck. How many people have heard the phrase, I got lucky? How many people have heard it? Okay, what does that imply? Huh? It implies that he didn't have control. If you got how many people flew here? How many people have ever flown on an airplane? How many people have a flying phobia? I can fix that. It's $50 extra, but I can do that. I can. I had someone who's working on the script for the Speed Seduction movie. His wife has a 13-year phobia of flying. So I went and I not only cured the phobia, but I linked it to sexual arousal. So that when she got on that plane, instead of viewing herself as trapped, she would view it as a 200-foot-long cock that she was straddling at 600 miles an hour. And the higher the plane got, the more the altitude increased, the more her horniness for her husband would intensify. So they're a very happy couple, and they believe that this technology works. So, you know, getting lucky, you know, if you got on a plane and you said to the pilot, how are you going to make sure we get to the destination? And he said with full sincerity and congruence, I don't know, maybe we'll get lucky. And he really believed it. What would you do?
Get on it.
All right. Now, I know you're a skilled firearms instructor, yes? Well, if you were in a real, genuine firefight for your life, this is you versus someone who truly wanted to kill you, would you want to rely on a lucky shot, or would you want to have skill? Skill, okay. So skill comes from commitment and drill and constant practice. So I don't like this frame also because it relies on a word I call, there's a lot of talk about this on the Speed Seduction mailing list, supplicate. Okay? Now, believe me, it feels better to be sup than to do the supping. What's up? Okay? You understand what's up? To supplicate means to plead, to make earnest entreaties, to beg. In the Middle Ages, if you had a dispute with another peasant, you'd go to the feudal lord and beg his favor, and he'd kill you both. Sort of like government. Wow. Hello, Rick. Bang any Czechoslovakian twins lately? I don't even want to know. We'll talk to you later. Okay. Okay. So we don't want to do any of this. Do we all agree this frame sucks?
Yeah.
Are bladders straining? Do we need a pee break? No, we'll keep going then. You can go ahead. He's carrying a knife. And that's the most important thing about seduction. Now notice this frame was not consciously chosen by any of us. How many of us sat down and said, I'm going to design a frame called dating that really works for me? Did we sit down and do this? No. So how did this frame get imposed on us? What was the mechanism? Yes, Pallone. This is Pallone, my attack dog on the list. Stand up. Semper Fi. There you go. Semper Tavi. Semper Sargi.
The question was, to answer your question.
Yeah. How did this frame get imposed on us?
By the media, by
what we've learned from other people. It's traditional.
They're social control mechanisms that are designed to restrain male impulses.
Ooh. Social control mechanism designed to restrain male impulses. By the way, who is an engineer or a software person here? Do we have any engineers or programmers here? Oh, okay. Hello, Mr. Pagan. Where's Billy? Hello, Billy. Okay, so let's talk about a better frame, a frame that works much better. Okay, because he who supplicates, masturbates. Now, there are some exceptions to this. You'll meet some women, and when you supplicate, they love it. Why? Because they want to exploit that and hurt you. Or they're so absorbed in their own consciousness, they're not paying attention to what you're doing. They're in la-la land. Now, women like this are known by a title. Women who are so absorbed in their own consciousness that they're not even paying attention to anything you're doing are called actresses. I think I'm done, huh? Oh, man.
Think of it as...
although in Los Angeles, they're known by another name. Waitresses. Oh, man. I'm smoking this morning, aren't I? Yeah, well. Mark and I have actually had discussions about structuring these seminars, you know, and there is a structure to what's happening.
We're getting closer all the time.
Yes, there is a structure. It is not a linear structure. I mean, we're going to constantly frustrate those of you who need to have all the dots connected for you, step by step. That's not going to happen. Okay. So, let's talk about a better frame. And that frame is called speed secretion, seduction. I need to put TM on the advice of my lawyer. We've actually trademarked it, followed all the proper procedures and all of that, so maybe she'll show up this weekend, I don't know. What does speed seduction primarily rely on? Before we get into the details of this, let's talk about what we'd want to have. If we could design a frame that really worked for us, what are the results we want inside of that frame? What are some of the results we'd like to have in a frame that works for us? We can have control. Control. No money.
Yes, no money. I'm Don LaPrey. I seduced 5 million women from my 2-square-foot apartment and spent no money. Except on my little hair spiky things that are considered a deadly weapon in 50 counties.
Okay.
Oh, man.
No money, what else? Come on, speak up. Sex whenever you want it.
Control the conversation.
Sex when you want it.
How about they pay?
In the spirit of clarity, let's say...
They pay.
They will pick you up.
They do the work.
We get to feel the magic.
They want to please us.
What?
They want to please us.
They want to please us.
No commitment.
No commitment.
No bullshit.
I'm so lucky to meet you.
I bring my
Okay.
friend.
Shekababakasha. Can I bring my friend? So threesomes.
Doing doubles on the
Let's
first
just
date.
say non-traditional sexual combinations. I'm serious. What else do you want in there, guys? Come on, let's design something. This is your seminar as well as mine, even though I'm making all the money and you'll do what I say. Come on.
We're free to have other women.
Lack of what?
Lack of minimum time and money invested.
Minimum investment of time and money. Efficiency.
Yeah.
Or speed. I like it. What
You get
else?
to like yourself.
Huh?
You get to like yourself.
You get to like yourself.
As in, when you're supplicating, it's like you kind of become this other person.
Yeah.
One becomes another person
You
to
wanna be
impress
yourself.
her. You get to be yourself.
Self-respect. Self-respect. And pussy. For those of you at home who are offended by the word pussy, I can use other terms. I can use stratified squamous epithelium. Whatever you like. I'm trying to be more politically correct. Not. Come on, guys. What else? This is not bad, but it's not really sizzling. Beautiful women. Beautiful in what way? Beautiful young women. Beautiful in what ways? Beautiful physically.
Yeah, maybe they're mentally stimulated.
Mentally stimulating. Fun. Oh, it sounds a lot better than the other one. Is it? Choice. Man, oh man. You know, I once had someone demand his money back because he said I didn't use enough variety of colors in the ink in the seminar. Now when you talk about chunking down small, I mean, really, I mean, that is really small chunk thinking. That is useless thinking. That guy will get nowhere. Nowhere. Jeez. I mean, think about that. It's like if I offered him a fucking treasure map showing him where the gold and diamonds are. I'm sorry, I don't like the font and the print, okay? Loser. Absolute fucking loser. Now, I was talking to... never mind. Okay, what else do we want? Well, we know that. We're freedom.
Smell good.
Smell good. Yes, soap and water are non-negotiable. Now, how many people believe this is at least theoretically possible? How many people don't believe it's theoretically possible? I know at least one person is going, yeah, it is, but not for me. Now, here's what's inside the frame. This is the result. What do we have to put on the outside to hold the frame together? What has to go in here that's going to make all of this possible? What has to go on the outside to make all of this possible? So like imagine a water balloon. Okay, we've got the water. Now how does the balloon have to be constructed to hold the water? Yes, but what is that? What are the major? I know you guys know. Are you a returning student? Okay, what has to go outside there then?
Your skills.
My skills?
No. Well, whoever's doing it.
Skills specifically in doing what?
Making that situation.
Yeah, but what are those pieces?
Proper tonality.
Okay, someone just said it. Okay, one of the major elements. Let's draw the frame again. We already know what we're going to put inside. Let's look at the supports for that frame. Capture and lead the imagination and emotions. This is one of the major pieces of that framework. When you can capture and lead the imagination and the emotions, then you begin to have tremendous power. Let's talk about that. How many people here have ever been to the movies? Okay. No one, is there anyone here who's never been to the movies? Okay. When you go to the movies, you know what you're going to see. You go to see the feature presentation. And there are lots of ways to decide what you're going to go see, right? Maybe you call 777 Film. They have 777 Film in Canada or something like that. Maybe you check out the calendar pages of your local newspaper. Maybe you talk to friends or you watch Siskel and Ebert or whatever. But before the feature presentation, you get to see scenes from coming attractions. Now, I sit there and I'll go, but every once in a while, the imagery and the feelings of a coming attraction evoke so much that you just know you have to take in the entire feature. Now, what is the difference between the coming attractions where you go, no way, and the ones where you go, I got to go see that? Sometimes to the point where you mark a calendar in your mind and go, opening in May, I got to watch the papers for that because I want to see that fucker. What is the difference? The difference is, in some way, the trailers that really got your attention, they captured your imagination, they evoke something, they evoke imagery and feelings, okay? Well, we don't want to be those boring trailers, those boring coming attractions. We want to be the coming attraction where she looks at us and goes, damn, that is a coming attraction, and I want to take in his feature. Okay. How did that metaphor come to my mind? I don't know. So we have to capture and lead the imagination. Okay? Now, the tools we're going to use to do that, I'll leave this diagram up. I don't want notes right now. I want you to understand. Okay? The tools we're going to do that are your language, how you use language, and within that there's a smaller tool set, and that's tonality, commands, etc. Okay? Capture and lead the imagination and the emotions. Now, what else do we have to have?
Delete.
Right. What's that? Belief? Confidence, belief. I think this all comes under designing your own state of mind. Designing your own state of mind. If you're not in the right state of mind, nothing's going to work. How many people here know their home address? What's your home address?
152.
Okay, stop. I don't need to know what it is, but that's fine. You got it, right? Now let's say you're driving on the freeway. Suddenly it's real busy in traffic. Suddenly smoke and flames start pouring out from under your hood. Okay, your tires pop. There's a semi going 70 miles an hour in your rear view mirror coming right at you. And then I asked you, what's your address? Could you tell me? Probably not, okay? So, you have to have the right frame of mind. We could change it. Let's say you're walking down the street. Suddenly, who's your favorite fantasy fuck? What actress or model would you really love to do? Okay. Pamela Anderson suddenly walks up to you, strips off her top, pours hot oil on it, shoves her tits in your face, and then starts going down on you. Okay, and then I ask you, what's your address? Could you tell me? No?
I'll tell you later.
Yeah, he'll tell me later. My address? Heaven. Fantasyland. All right. You have to have the right frame of mind. Now, what are the smaller tools we're going to show you to get that? Well, we're going to show you how to control your... we're going to teach you the equalizer and some things about sound and some other things. We're going to show you how to do all that. Okay, so that's good. We got 1, 2. What else? Well, I think one of the things that you need is some learning skills. Learning how to learn, learning how to stay on track. So let's just say learning skills. Rehearsal skills. Okay? So, yes?
Creativity and flexibility.
Creativity and flexibility, absolutely. Good. So you notice it's a much different framework. We're talking about completely different things here, aren't we? Time for another student story. A female made a mistake with one of my advanced students. She had the audacity and the foolishness to tell him that she just wasn't quite attracted to him. Okay. And it's amazing. You can stop crunching with a look. And he said to her, what if you could grow more and more attracted to the belief that you could learn to choose who you were attracted to more and more and more? If you could look into my heart and see the person that I am, would you choose to grow more and more attracted to me for all the right reasons that make so much sense to you? I thought, wow, that's really fucking cool. In fact, it's such an agreeable example of how the languaging works. We're going to spend the next hour or so, or however long it takes, to look at that. We're going to go through it piece by piece, because I think this is a really agreeable example of how to use some seductive languaging. So we're now going to go small chunk and look at some pieces. Okay? By the way, she sucked him so hard that no. Okay. So she said, her wording was, I'm just not attracted to you. So what frame was she putting everything in? What was the overall frame that this woman was setting around their transaction?
We won't be dating. We won't be having sex.
I think the overall frame, I would say, is there's nothing we can do about it. It's a fait accompli.
It's either there or it isn't.
Fait accompli.
She's also describing a strategy where she can't move forward unless something outside of herself causes her to do so.
This is how it is. I can't help it. And now, that frame's not a very useful one for her either. So, what did the student say? He said, we're going to take it apart piece by piece. And here it is appropriate to take notes when I tell you. Not yet. Okay? Not yet.
Wait for it.
Wait for it. Okay. First thing he says is, what if? Now let's stop. Let's look at that wonderful phrase, what if? when you say what if, or just suppose, or supposing, what does that do to the person listening? It opens up the possibility. It causes them to go into their imagination. There's no functional difference between saying what if and saying once upon a time. When someone tells you a story, anyone here ever seen a classic Monty Python film, Life of Brian?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Brian, who's supposed to be like Jesus, it's Brian of Nazareth instead of Jesus of Nazareth. And Brian is there preaching to the people of Jerusalem. He said, there were these two men. And someone interrupts and says, what were their names? He says, well, I don't know. Herbert and Samuel. Oh, you're making it up as you go along. He says, well, all right, consider the birds. Well, what's wrong with the birds then? Well, there's nothing wrong with them. They're quite lovely. Well, then why are you attacking the birds? So, usually when someone says, this is a story, you don't think that way. You go, okay. So what if is activating the imagination. It's saying, just consider, ponder, wonder about the possibility. So right there, he's stepping in. What if is sort of what we would call a trance phrase. It's a phrase that sort of induces a trance. So remember that. So you may write this down. Write down what if. And next to what if, I want you to draw an arrow and write what it does. What does using the words what if do? It induces an imaginative state. It activates the imagination. Okay? I want you, when you study the pieces, to understand the purpose of the piece. If you understand the purpose and the design of the piece, you could substitute in your own. Because you don't want to use my piece, you want to be using your piece. There's an ambiguity for you. My massage therapist was working on me, and she was doing my buttocks, and she said, look, Ross, I'm kneading your buns. That's K-N-E-A-D-I-N-G. And I said, well, I'm going to buy massages for, Yates and Mark, so I want you to treat my staff really well. Be good to my staff. She didn't get that one. Because when you do massage and you do it right, you help a person's body to move in a new direction. Okay, what if, okay? So, what if you could grow more and more attracted? Okay, let's look at this. What if you could grow more and more attracted? Now, what is he doing here? First of all, he's using this more and more. When you use something like more and more, the more you listen to what I say, the more it allows you to realize the importance of learning these skills. More the more directionalizes the brain. It's setting a direction for the brain. So I want you to circle more the more, and above it write directionalizes. It sets a direction, or sets a direction. The more you listen to the speed seduction material, the more you realize just how much you want to learn it, the more you can make the decision right now to commit yourself to mastery of these skills. Doesn't that just make sense? Okay? Does this make sense? Anyone not get it? Okay? So when you use phrases like the more, or more and more, you're setting a direction. You're saying your mind's going to go this way, and it's going to keep going that way faster and faster. So he really set in real fast. So in the space of 5 seconds, he's already pounding away, loosening up the frame. What if you could grow more and more attracted? Now here he's using her own word. She used the word attracted, so he's repeating it right back. He's just repeating back her own word. Okay? He didn't say aroused. He didn't say, what if you could grow more and more aroused? He used her own wording. Okay? What if you could grow more and more attracted to the belief? And then he paused. Pause. He didn't say, what if you could grow more and more attracted to the belief? He said, what if you could grow more and more attracted? And then he paused. Why did he pause? Because she's going to be thinking more and more attracted to what? It creates response potential. So where I've written pause, above it write response potential. Some of the women on my list, my romantic list, are going to be getting something for Valentine's Day. But guess what I'm going to do, guys? I'm going to send it to them a week early, and on the envelope, seal of the envelope, it's going to say, do not open till Valentine's Day. Now, what are they going to do? They're probably going to open it, but they're going to be thinking, what's in here? What's in here? What's in here? Okay, what if you could grow more and more attracted, pause, to the belief? Now let's stop right here. The minute he says to the belief, he's raising it out of the frame of what she's stuck with into the realm of what she can choose. What if you could grow more and more attracted to the belief that you could learn to choose who you were attracted to? More and more and more. Now let's stop right here. Put your notes down, put your pencils down, put your pens down. Look up here. What if you could grow more and more attracted to the belief that you could learn to choose who you were attracted to more and more and more? Now let me ask you something. What he's really saying is, this is about an opportunity for you. He's setting an opportunity frame here. What woman wouldn't want to be able to choose who she's attracted to? Who's going to say, no, I don't want to learn how to do that? What if you could learn to choose more and more and more what you could quickly and easily learn, absorb, and utilize in your life? Who would say no to that? Would anyone say no to that? Even if internally they wanted to say no, would they be able to and have any dignity and face in your eyes? Answer. Who's not getting this? I'm serious. Is anyone not getting this? You. Are you getting it? Then explain it to him what it means. Explain it to him what you're doing when you say that. Don't look at me. Look at him and explain it.
You're making it impossible for them to say no because that's a mistake. That's, of course, not what they want to have.
Exactly. Okay, you do understand it. You're making it impossible for them to say no, because who wouldn't want to have it? You're not saying to her, do you believe you can do that? You're saying, what if you could? It's just like saying to a woman, I think it's so interesting. You learn so much about people by learning how they do the following. What person's going to say, I'm not interested in learning about people? Who's going to say that? It's the functional equivalent of saying, I have every venereal disease known to mankind. You know? No woman is going to say that. She may have it, but she's not going to say it. So does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Come on, you're asleep!
Yes.
I can't hear you!
Yes.
Everybody fights! No one quits! Starship Troopers! Did they ruin a great novel with that movie? I was so disappointed. But you got to see Denise Richards. Whoa. If only the bug was smart enough to rip her bra off, you know, that would be an intelligent insect. Okay. That you could learn to choose who you're attracted to more and more and more. Now notice the next slick part. He said, if you could, that's just like what if. When you say to someone, if you could, what are you saying to them? Look up here. When you say the words, if you could, in effect you're saying, try on the possibility. If you could imagine yourself driving home in this brand new Mercedes today, would you show your friends right away, or would you just enjoy cruising by yourself knowing they can't even touch you? Okay. If you could is a weasel phrase and a trance phrase. If you could is saying, just imagine the possibility. It's saying, go into a trance and hallucinate this. Okay? It's the functional equivalent of saying that, only it works a lot better. Because if you walk up to someone and say, go into trance, Quentin, and imagine the possibility of giving me all your money, you know, fuck you. But if I said, if you could imagine making the best investment of your life, seeing all the things that'll bring you, I don't want you to go jumping into your future. And with delicious anticipation, imagine all the things that'll bring you. Because you may say, no, that's not going to happen. I refuse to let that happen. I'd much rather have a moment-by-moment experience of convincing myself that this is what I want to do. And even if you don't say it, I know you're thinking it, so where does that leave us? So, wallet, please. Okay. Now you're thinking, boy, that was really good. But you know what? I practice. I just drill over and over. I'm in love with this stuff. I do it with my cat. I'll do it to anybody because I'm in love with it. Okay? Yes, sir.
Actually, it's a dumb question.
There are no dumb questions.
Like, how is, like, the quickest draw you've ever had?
You want to see it again? Oh, you mean with a woman getting her act? Okay, the quickest I've ever had, then I'm going to get back to the story. This is when I was actually first getting into this pretty early on. Well, when was it? Like probably in '94. There was a very attractive black woman handing out samples in the grocery. And she said, would you like to do a free drawing? I said, okay. I took the piece of paper and I drew something. I walked away. Then I came back to her like 10 minutes later. I said, do you find funny men attractive or just irresistibly sexy? Now, haven't you ever get that sense that you've known someone a long time? You just immediately could feel comfortable, could feel a sense of intrigue. Well, I gave her my number. An hour later, she calls me and says, I'm getting off work. Could you pick me up at the supermarket? I picked her up at the supermarket, took her home, and within 2 or 3 minutes of having her in my front door, I had her top off and we were going at it on my living room floor. That was real fast. That was a fast one. But now let me say something. She was in a point in her life where she was looking for a guy. Okay, women, you're going to find women in different stages. Okay, and she was also there. We'll get into those factors that determine the speed. But anyway, so if you could, these are ways of inducing a trance. Now I know people have traditional frames around hypnosis. Major Mark is going to be here shattering those frames for you. Traditional hypnosis says it's not hypnosis unless you're waving a magic, doing the hypno wheel thing. Those things only make me nauseous. They never worked on me. Or you're dangling a little watch fob and the person goes to sleep. Yes, sleep, sleep, and now you're going further down the staircase of bullshit. Okay? I am telling you that there is no functional difference between traditional trance induction and this kind of thing because it's activating the same part of the mind. Do you get that? It's activating the same part of the mind. It's activating the same part of your mind. Do you get it? And the more you understand, deeply understand your mind, the better the quality of your life and your learnings will be. Now, okay, if you could, and then notice the command he gives, if you could, look into my heart. That's the command he gives. So he says, if you could, look into my heart. He's giving her a command to look into his heart. Now, what does it mean? Is he telling her, split open my chest, slice open the superior vena cava, and examine my heart muscle? Is that what he's saying?
No.
What does it mean to look into someone's heart?
It kind of almost doesn't mean anything. So she gets
Say it again. Say it again.
It kind of doesn't mean anything, so she gets to fill in the details.
Exactly. It doesn't mean anything specific, so she has to fill in the details. So on that phrase, look into my heart, I want you to circle and put command. It is a command, and it's also vague. This is the power of being vague. Vagueness has tremendous power. Why is it important to be vague? Because when you're vague, the only way the other person can understand is to fill in just like you just did. Exactly. They have to fill in the right, themselves. And that's a profoundly hypnotic process, because when you fill in details, what mechanism are you using in your mind? The same mechanism you would use to hallucinate a 30-foot tall rabbit if we had you in a stage hypnosis show. Okay? Part of what we're doing here is also breaking your frames about what hypnosis really is. People are trance machines. People enjoy going into trance. I love going into trance. My favorite hypnotist is sitting right there. He will talk about something, and I close my eyes and just do it. He was telling me how he has a window out into alternate realities. I didn't take it as an intellectual discussion. I closed my eyes and hallucinated one for myself. And that just shows I'm intelligent, right? What's the correlation between intelligence and suggestibility?
It's 1-to-1. The smarter you are, the more suggestible you are.
And what's the difference between suggestible and gullible, if you would for a moment?
Okay, suggestibility is a term that we use in order to refer to the rate and speed with which a person is capable of learning. There have been a lot of studies that show that the most capable, most successful people of our time are in fact highly suggestible, which means that when they encounter new experience, the first thing they do is they just absorb it and they start trying it out in all different areas of their life. And only when they see the result do they make the decision, is this a good thing, a bad thing, do I keep it or throw it away? Sound familiar? That's what I was talking about earlier today. Now, gullibility is just the opposite. Gullibility is a state of no control. Gullibility is a state where you are at the absolute mercy of the next thing that happens to you. You cannot control your reality whatsoever. A highly suggestible person is not only controlling their reality, they're creating their reality.
Right. Now, I'm extremely suggestible, wouldn't you say?
Yes, you are.
But I'm not gullible. Okay? So those two things do not at all correlate. So that, I hope, answers part of the issue of manipulation, the ethical issue. Are you taking advantage of someone? No. That would be, if you wanted to appeal to their gullibility, you would lie about yourself. You would go, well, I may look like a skinny Jewish geek boy, but in reality, I am a Greek god who's hiding in this shell because, you know, and I also own the entire Aegean Sea, and the name is Bond, James Bond, okay? That's manipulation. Manipulation is when you appeal to gullibility. Okay, what we're doing is appealing to the natural mechanisms of suggestion. And we're doing it to help her. Why do I say that? Because if you can get a woman off her traditional ideas about what she finds attractive and open an opportunity for her to find someone attractive new, in a new, interesting, and different way, how are you hurting her? You're not. You're really not. I truly believe, and there's something else to understand, these skills are not a way of begging your way past your flaws. Okay? When you understand how these skills work, when you understand that these skills allow you to present the emotional and imaginative experiences that women truly crave, then you realize that what you thought was valuable all along was really the shuck. That the real value lies in being able to do exactly that, to create the emotional and imaginative experiences for her that she really wants. That is the true gold. Everything else, the looks, the money, that's the fool's gold that she thinks will bring her those experiences. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They're ways of trying to reach at what you will provide for her much more directly. Do you understand?
Yes.
So if you're hiding behind these tools going, I really don't look very good, I don't have as much to offer as the other guy. No. The very thing you have to offer is the thing she's been seeking for her whole life but could never put a name to. All right, if you could look into my heart. So it's a command and it's vague, right? If you could look into my heart and see the person that I am. That's the next command. See the person that I am. So circle that and put command and also put vague. What does it mean to see the person that I am? Does that mean you're going to look at my genetic structure? Does it mean you're going to look at my vas deferens? You're going to palpate my scrotum? What does it mean? What does it mean to see the person that I am?
Start thinking, start imagining.
It's so vague it doesn't have any meaning. She has to find the meaning for herself.
She will also assume that the earlier impression must be wrong.
Yes, it also presupposes that her early impression of you was wrong, that she was just looking at the surface, the things that don't count. It's loaded with stuff.
She went from a position of power to desperately trying to not be a flake in about 30 seconds.
Right. This is mental jujitsu. She figures, okay, this is my standard bomb I hurl at guys, and it always fucks them up and they leave me alone. Here we go. She tosses the bomb, and you throw back a thermonuclear warhead. She's gone. All gone. Bye-bye. The Teletubbies say goodnight. Bye-bye. Good night. Bye. No. I love the Teletubbies. They are frightening, man. They're freaky. See the person that I am. If you could look into my heart and see the person that I am, would you choose, and you're actually giving her a command. Would you, and then here comes the command, choose to grow more and more attracted to me? Okay, so you're giving her a command. Would you choose to grow more and more attracted to me? Okay. For all the right reasons. That feels so good to you. More and more and more. Now let's look at this bit, okay? I'll take a minute for you to write it. Would you choose to grow more and more attracted to me? I want you to circle, choose to grow more and more attracted to me. Okay? I want you to put command. And also put implies it is her doing. What does it mean to say choose to grow more and more attracted to me? It means it's her doing. She's volunteering to do this. It's not that she's doing it because you've mind fucked her into it, or you've reframed it, or you've opened up the frame. What you're really doing here is opening up the frame of possibility. Mind fuck is a bad word. You're truly giving her a chance to experience something she couldn't experience before. Would you choose to grow more and more attracted to me? The command is choose to grow more and more attracted to me, and it's implying that it's her doing, not my doing. So why should she resist it? She shouldn't. For all the right reasons. What does that mean? For all whose right reasons? Did I say for all your own right reasons? I said for all the right reasons. It's vague again.
But it's absolute.
Yes, all the right reasons. Not some, not a few, but all the right reasons.
Is that also a presupposition?
Yes, there are right reasons to choose you.
Yes, it's presupposing there are right reasons to choose you. For all the right reasons. So you want to underline this phrase and put presuppositions. Now, a presupposition is just any part of the sentence that has to be true for the sentence to make sense. If I say, have you seen John's red car? What's the presupposition? John has a red car, okay? So, for all the right reasons. This presupposes that there are right reasons to choose you, okay? That she overlooked before. That feel so good to you. Feel so good to you. This is giving her a command. The command is feel so good. There's an embedded command in that phrase. So I want you to circle the phrase feel so good. That feel so good. You're telling her to feel so good about it. Okay? More and more and more. What does more and more and more do? It directionalizes the brain. So you're setting that direction. Now, how many of you think that's a pretty big mouthful to spoon at a woman? I gotta watch this. I mean, how many of you think that's a pretty big presentation? No. How many of you think that's a lot? Actually, he said that in this under like 30 seconds. And something else. What if you had a sense that a woman you were with wasn't quite attracted enough to you yet? How would you like to be able to use this with her before she even brings up the objection? Would you like that?
Yes.
How would we do that? We put it in quotes. So I'm going to teach you another tool. Okay? Okay, quotes. Now, quotes is a great tool we use all the time. I was watching a show last night on the Learning Channel. And they were talking about swearing and how swearing is a universal phenomenon. Now, in some cultures, a person will walk right up to you and say, "Go fuck yourself, scumbag." And other cultures will walk up
New
and
Jersey.
say, "Suck my dick, you Israeli pig." But, or they'll walk up to someone and go, "What a fucking idiot you are for taking this seminar." But in other cultures, they're a lot more subtle. Like in the Japanese culture, they'll just imply something. Now, what am I doing? I'm quoting, okay? Quotes is a way of introducing material into the conversation. That's what it does. So, here's how you could do this with a woman. You could go, you know what? My friend Debbie had the most unusual experience. She was out on a date and she said to a guy, "I'm really just not that attracted to you." And you won't believe what he said to her. He said this, and then just quote it. And she will go through the entire experience right there with you. Okay?
It's a structure she cannot deny or say no to, because after all, it's outside of herself. You're talking about a friend, an authority, something you saw on TV. What is she going to do? Say, no, you didn't see it on TV?
Or no, you didn't have the conversation with your friend? You get it? You get how quotes works? You simply take anything you want to run, any patterning or language construction, and you talk about what are some ways that we could see it on TV. We heard it on the radio. We read it in the magazine. A friend told us their experience. Kamal, who will be here this weekend, quotes squirrels. He said to a woman, a squirrel looked at me and said, and they go right up now, in NLP, we call that a selectional restriction violation. There's a technical NLP jargon for everything under the sun. In NLP, they call it a technical selectional restriction violation. I don't even know the jargons. I would flunk an NLP test. Yes?
Do you ever get called on recalling quotes too accurately?
I will put in stumbling. I'll go, he said something like, well, what if you could grow more and more attracted to the belief that that you could learn to choose who you were attracted to more and more and more. If you could, what did he say? If you could look into my heart and see the person that I am, would you choose to grow more and more attracted to me for all the right reasons that feel so good, more and more and more? Did he actually believe that she would absorb that, act on it, let it happen? What?
Aren't those probably more powerful because she's trying to think?
Of course, and they make me sound sincere, like I'm struggling for the words. It's the funniest thing in the world to hear me struggle for the words.
Fake sincerity well.
But you know what? On one level it's a fake, on another level it's not. Because I truly, listen to me, put your notes down and get this. I mean this. I truly believe that I am opening a frame. By doing this, I'm opening a possibility frame for her that she didn't have before. Her mental structure, her belief system says I can only be attracted to people when it just happens, out of my control. I'm opening up that frame and going, no, there are other possibilities where you can be in control, and you can choose options that you didn't know you had. I am opening, so in that sense I am being sincere. I'm being slick in the presentation, and it's definitely structured. I've thought it through. It's done with deliberateness, but it also is sincere. I completely believe that. I really believe that, you know, you can open possibilities for women that they didn't have before. I'm opening possibilities for you to believe and try things that you didn't know were out there before. I'm showing you how to do with women, in a sense, what I'm doing for you mentally, which is opening up frames. I'll tell you another example. I was at California Pizza Kitchen, and behind the counter was a woman telling me she's an artist. And she said, but you know, I tend to think very concretely. My art is not very abstract. I said, wow, that's a pretty abstract way of thinking, to realize at what level of abstraction you can think. And I saw her do this. I saw her do this, and I saw the frame get bigger. I reached out and I grabbed that one. Got bigger, didn't it? She went, you see possibilities you didn't see before, don't you? Looks real interesting, doesn't it? Gonna go home and paint something new and interesting, aren't you? Free dessert, right? Now I served myself there, but now let me ask you, what's your name?
Evan.
Did I hurt her, Evan?
Not at all.
Not at all. Does anyone think I hurt that woman?
Not at all.
You've got to get past the traditional dating frame bullshit that says, well, you're manipulating women, you're just trying to, you know. No. There's a difference between manipulation and misleading. Magic, in a sense, is wonderful. When you see the magician doing things, he's not really doing what you're focusing on. Okay, but when you suspend that disbelief, you get a sense of wonder. You get a treat as a result, okay? And so you're introducing, in a way, you're introducing a sense of wonder into her model. You're expanding her model, and I think that serves her. Now, I advocate being honest. Be honest about, if she says, are you looking for a commitment? You go, well, what specifically do you mean by a commitment? And if it's not what you're looking for, go, no, I'm not. This gives you so much choice and so much power and so many options that you don't have to be dishonest. It's only in a frame of scarcity that people get dishonest. Okay? You will lie, cheat, and steal to defend something you believe is scarce. But if you believe there's plenty around, you don't need to try and hold on to it. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is where I get into a very brief discussion about relationships and commitment. I have no problem with those things. They can be beautiful when they're done out of choice. Now, I do have a problem with people who get into relationships by default. Many men are in relationships not because they're really with someone who they truly admire, who they truly love and respect. They're in a relationship because they just happened to meet someone who accidentally was attracted to them and decided to end their sexual starvation. Now, I don't think I'm being cynical here. We've all experienced this. We've all gone through it. I want men and women to have more choice than that. And I don't think the traditional tools that are being taught work to do that. Everything else out there is just another variation on traditional tools. John Gray will give you different rules for dating. The rules will give you different rules for dating, or they'll give women different rules. But they're still in that old framework. I'm saying break that frame and create a new one that works better for everybody. You buy that?
Yes.
I know Riker wanted to come up here and talk about the ethical issues of this, because he's the soul of rectitude, and All right, is this making sense? Yes.
Sir Ross, I kind of liken this to being like, you're helping us getting unstuck. In our process of being unstuck, we're showing other people, hey, look at how you get unstuck. They follow you right along.
Right. You're going to unstick them so you can... I got to watch that. That part of me keeps popping up. I got to suppress that. Yes. How do you say it? Aluk?
Al-Oak.
Al-Ook.
Oh, like you're in the middle.
Al-Ook.
Like, remember we did the demonic with the dance?
Yes. He's teaching me physics and math. He's a very, very brilliant man. Yes.
How do you keep from becoming a therapist?
Well, I don't therapize. Women say, first of all, that's a good question. I tell women I do hypnosis.
Pop-Tart.
Now, can you explain to me the physics of how it heats up within the bag?
Oh, that's
Yeah. Okay. All right. When I tell women I do hypnosis and personal change, they go, can you help me stop smoking? I go, why would I want to take away a pleasure from you? I'm not about taking away pleasure. I don't fix what's broken. I can refer you to people who do that. I'd rather take something inside you that already works really well and make it even better. Make it more exquisite. I want to help you move in a magnificent new direction. Okay, now the thing about new directions, not small new directions, but big, powerful new directions is, and I don't know if you can get this as I say it, Debbie, I think you can, is that you don't want to just play with them. You want to take them in, join with them, ride them, make it part of who you are. Okay.
You don't want to talk to God, you want to taste God.
Oh, yeah. A friend of mine, anyone see the Major Mark's magnificent Build a Better Girlfriend video series? Anyone have that?
Yes.
Remember Dana from that? Dana and I hang out, and Dana invited me to this Hollywood Bible study. Because this Hollywood Bible study is done by this preacher by the name of Tim Story. Now, Tim Story is the pet preacher of Diane Cannon, who plays Judge Whipper Cohen on Ally McBeal. As a result, he gets huge crowds to his little Hollywood Bible studies, and there's beautiful women everywhere. Okay, and anyway, so this guy from Jump, I saw him doing NLP. He was chaining anchors and doing all sorts of technical NLP. He was really good. I was looking at Dana going, he's good. He's real good. And at one point he says, you don't just want to think about God. You've got to experience God. You've got to reach out and touch God. It's not enough to just touch him. You want to put him in your mouth. You want to taste him. You want to put him in your mouth. And Dana looked at me and I looked at Dana and I went, did he just say that? Now, Dana's cousin was with us, but she wanted to sit up front. Afterwards, she doesn't know any of this stuff. She looked at me, she went, I was having sexual feelings for him. Was he doing something? I explained to her the exact structure. I was going to go up to him afterwards and go, put him in your mouth. Bad boy. So this stuff is going on everywhere. Absolutely. Huh? The White House. Oh, yeah. Well, I came across her face a few times in staff meetings.